Okay, the next thing I want to focus on, and this one is really super important. A lot of your money is going to come from extra pays, and you're going to use the advanced PO request macro a lot. Okay, so we're signed into our driver tech here. That's the main screen. I'm going to go up to mail. We're going to open mail because we need to send a message. We're going to pretend that we have a load that needs lumper services. So we need to send a message to dispatch to get an advance and a PO. So this is the first example. I'm going to go to the send tab. Of course, we're sending to dispatch. I'm going to hit my drop down box here. The drop down box exposes all of the macros. There's a list of all the macros in your packet. I'm going to go to macro 40. It's the advanced PO request. Going to use this a lot. I'll get rid of this keyboard here. In the case of a lumper where you need money to get the job done and you also need a PO, you can get those 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Money to get the job done and a PO to cover that advance. So here's the macro. I want to use this first one. We're going to pretend I have a load that needs a $100 advance. So I'm going to say I need an advance code and a PO. Now you only mark one of these boxes, so that's the one I'm going to mark. I'm going to go down here to my load number and I'll just click on my keyboard button and make up a load number. Okay. Then my driver code. Put in your driver code. All right. And amount requested. I need $100. So I'm just going to put 100 in here. And there's a list of reasons down here. The one that we're going to use is lumper. Okay. These are for expenses. So I'm going to put in the code XLU. XLU. And take care of my keyboard. There we go. There's nothing to explain here. So everything's in there. I need an advance code and a PO. My load number, my driver code. I need $100 for a lumper. Okay, I'm going to hit the send tab. There you go. When I hit that send tab, it takes me to my outbox and it shows me that I just sent that advanced PO request. Okay, so we've got our wire code and our PO. We're going to go ahead and open up the wire code first. There it is. So it's going to say wire code, your load number is the subject. Wire code on load 1683579, this big long 16-digit code. It's going to say on a check number. That check number does not mean anything. It's just a numeric sequence that's used to track all of our advances we give out. So you don't have to write that down anywhere. Driver advance, $100. Okay, this is a driver advance, meaning we don't know what you're going to use that money for. So what triggers us to reimburse you is a receipt with your load number on it. Okay? So you fill out your COM check where it says express code. That's where that goes. You're going to put who you're giving the check to, the amount, and then you're going to wait for a receipt. So you've given them your COM check. Now we're going to go back. You've got your receipt. Now we're going to go back and we're going to go to our extra pay. Extra pay always means PO. Okay, when we requested our advance and PO, they come in two separate messages. We just looked at the wire code and now here's the PO. The cool thing about our PO system is every time you ask for a PO on a given load number, it adds it to a list of POs that you've been given on that load number, and you just look at the last 3 lines every time you get a new PO. So we ask for a lumper for $100. There's my PO, 596127. Earlier in the load, I had a driver assist, $15 PO, 593760. Earlier in the load, and I need to scroll up here. Earlier in the load, I had a tolls and parking for $10. There's my PO for that. So the PO system is cumulative. Every time you ask for a PO, it just adds it to a list of POs that you've gotten on that load number. If I had another PO on this load number for any reason, whether it was an expense or an extra pay, like this extra pay right here, that's a drop pay for PDS, it would add it to this list. What's cool about that? I'm going to tell you. At the end of the load, all you need to do to check to make sure you've gotten all of your POs on your trip sheet is go to the last message that you got with this load number and this title. You can tell which was the last one, not only by the time they come in order this way, so the newest message is always on top. All you need to do is go find that message, the last one you got for this load number, and all of your POs will be on there. So you grab your trip sheet and you compare your trip sheet against this one message. All right, so now I'm going to go in and request a $50 layover. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm again sending a message. So I'm going to my send tab and we're going to request layover pay. Let's say I've been sitting without a load for 24 hours. At the end of that 24 hours, I need to request a PO for a $50 layover. So I go to my send tab, sending it to dispatch. I'm going to go back down to my macro 40, advanced PO request. It's the magical macro. So this time I don't need an advance. We don't pay you for those extra pay items, layover, breakdown, stop pay, etc. With an advance code, we add it to your check. We don't send you a check for those things. We add it to your check. So I just need a PO. So I'm going to click yes in that box there. I just need a PO. Again, I'm going to make up a load number. I'm going to put in my driver code. I'm going to put in the amount requested. I know because Steve told me that layover pay is 50 bucks. And reason, anytime you're asking for an extra pay item, which is layover, breakdown, stop pay, detention, hourly pay, or produce layover, you're going to use the description OTH. So we're going to go in and put OTH in the reason. And then at the bottom, where it asks for an explanation, you have to tell us what the PO is for. $50 layover. And hit send. There you go. I just sent a $50 layover. So now we're going to wait for our layover to come through. Now, the thing you have to keep in mind about extra pay items that are layover, breakdown, stop pay, anytime you're asking for any of those things, you request that PO Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. The reason for that is your fleet manager has to be here to send you that. Okay? It's not going to delay you getting paid or anything, but if it's on the weekend, write it on your trip sheet, and then Monday morning you'll see your extra pay. You send in your extra pay requests, and in fact, there it is. It just came through. So let's go ahead and open that up. Now remember, you're not looking at the top one, we're looking at the bottom one, because these are cumulative. It just adds them to the list. So if we go down here, bottom 4 lines, company layover pay, layover $50, and there's my PO number. It's a really simple system. Just remember, if it's an expense and I need money to cover that expense, I'm asking for an advance code and a PO. Let's go back in here one more time. If I need money to get the job done, I ask for a COM check, that's an advance code, and a PO. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If I need to get paid for layover or breakdown or stop pay, I just need a PO. Request these Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Write them on your trip envelope or your trip sheet as they happen, and then before you scan your trip sheet, make sure you're getting a PO. Last trick, look at the oldest extra pay message that has the load number on that you're turning in or scanning, and you'll see every PO you've requested on that load. This one right here, you'll never need it. We do personal advances that you get at the pump. All right, so talking about the trip sheet and POs. Very important that you get your POs on your trip sheet in the right place. Those expense POs go right here. Lumper, scale, trailer washout, pallets, miscellaneous, motel, load locks, whatever. Okay? You've got to get a PO. You've got to get a receipt when you're spending company money. Those POs go in this section, and make sure you put your load number on your receipt. Okay? Upper section is for the expense POs. Now, bottom section, right here where it says extra pay, detention, layover, produce, etc., that's where your extra pay POs go. We're not sending you an advance code, we're just sending you a PO. You're just requesting a PO. That third selection on the advance PO request macro where it says I just need a PO. All your extra pay POs go there. In the section in the middle where it says PO number, that's where you want to write your PO. Okay? Make sure before you scan this trip sheet that the PO section is filled in. If you've got anything written in the extra pay section where you're writing down your layover and breakdown. And again, I recommend that you fill this out as you go, because these extra pay POs you can only get Monday through Friday 8 to 5. Write it down as it happens. Then when your fleet manager's here, send in that request for the PO and then fill in the PO. That way you know when you go to turn this in, if you're missing a PO number and you've got something written like detention, that you need to get a PO. It's very important. We don't want you guys missing out on any extra pay items.